with Phil Tuning today. Phil is our new Executive Director of our Executive Partners Program here at William & Mary's Raymond A. Mason School of Business. Phil, I'd like to extend, first of all, a welcome to the Mason community. And could you tell us a little bit about your background?
Absolutely. Thank you for the opportunity to talk about myself a little, but more importantly, to talk about the Executive Partners Program. I am a native Virginian, and my understanding is I'm probably the first native Virginian to be the Executive Director. I'm also a graduate of the EMBA program at William & Mary.
Okay.
And so I'm not only a native Virginian, but I'm also a graduate, an alumni, again, another first. And I most recently retired from John Deere Financial, where my last assignment was with John Deere Financial in Canada, where I served as president, so I was responsible for it for the country. I spent over 20 years with John Deere in a multiple series of roles where I've got a broad-based experience in leadership and marketing. And so when I looked at retirement and decided to come back to Virginia, the thing that we looked at was, hey, what are some opportunities to get back engaged? And one of the things that came first to mind was William & Mary. And I became an EP last year. And somehow or another, I ended up in this role as the executive director, having the leadership responsibility to work with a bunch of really solid, intelligent, great executive partners that have tremendous corporate experience. Additionally, the staff and the professors here are outstanding. And so it's just an honor to be able to sit here and talk about the Executive Partners Program.
Well, Phil, that's an impressive background, and we're certainly glad that you decided to come back to Williamsburg. It is a great place to be, whether you're an active early stage professional or later in your career, or certainly at the retirement age. Tell us about the Executive Partners Program itself. Now, I know that a lot of folks consider it one of the secret sauces, if you will, at William & Mary and in the master's level business programs that we offer. The program is built around mentorship, but tell us a bit about the program itself, what types of people serve as mentors, and what the value is for our students.
Yeah, what's really neat about the Executive Partners Program is it's made up of retired, semi-retired executives that volunteer their time. And so first off, think about that. You've got people from all around the United States that have retired in Williamsburg and decided that they want to contribute their time to William & Mary. And more importantly, what the Executive Partners Program is designed to do is help shape the leaders of tomorrow. And how we do that is working with the professors. The professors design the programs. They pull us into their strategy. We help execute in some areas, add an extra dimension to some of the things that they're doing. Additionally, where is a strong point for the executive partners is their executive experience. And so while you talked about mentorship, a good part of that is also coaching. Coaching MBA candidates around what they want to do. And so it's sort of an exploratory process where we help them through a series of questions and listening and help guide them in terms of where they want to go. And then where the mentoring piece comes into play is when we share our experiences. So it's just really a combination of coaching and mentoring. But in a nutshell, the Executive Partners Program is a program that's in place of volunteers to really help William & Mary move forward as a university, and then more importantly, to serve the students and faculty to help us generate and develop the next series of leaders.
Wow, what a powerful component of an already extremely valuable program that educates people to move into leadership positions all throughout the world and in different industries. How does a student select a mentor? Is there a process for matching students up with mentors that are focused on certain industries or business disciplines?
Yeah, so we have a program in place where we identify, we recruit executive partners based on their backgrounds, whether it be in finance, accounting, marketing, general management. And generally, as I've stated, those are retirees in the Williamsburg area. And through that process, there's a series of programs that the professors will offer. And so one of the programs is called the Principled Professional, which is an organizational behavior class where we identify coaches to team up with a team. Typically, it'll be a team of 5 people. And we take them through a whole series of things that have been designed by the professors. And we also will assign coaches, individual coaches to the students based on their background and potentially needs. And then there's also the opportunity where there's a whole list of the executive partners where their disciplines or backgrounds are posted on the website, and then students individually can match themselves and say, boy,
Okay.
I'd really like to connect with Jeff because I like Jeff's background. And then there will be also a formal process where they're actually matched to. And so then as executive partners, we also team coach. We also team mentor, which is pretty fascinating. I like the fact that you kind of talked about the secret sauce. And one of the questions that I've been asking people, what is the secret sauce of the Executive Partners Program? And candidly, it comes down to the level of commitment, the teamwork that's displayed, the continuous learning, the adaptability of the people that are part of the Executive Partners Program, and they really enjoy engaging and helping to develop the minds. It's a fascinating thing to see.
It is, and again, what an important component of the educational experience here. So mentors work one-on-one with students that they've been assigned to work with through their academic experience with us, and it also sounds like on a team basis, you've got mentors pairing up perhaps along with multiple students and working on team projects. Are those generally projects and initiatives that are focused on the curriculum? Are they ever external to third-party companies or organizations that are looking for assistance from MBA students? But how inward is the activity within the program versus externally focused sort of consulting and project opportunities for students?
So there's a combination of the things that you talked about. There are also opportunities for executive partners to go into the classroom to either speak in the classrooms or help with case studies. Additionally, there's the component which you're referring to that's called the field consultancy, where executive partners will team up with students to actually do consulting work at an external company to give some hands-on experience. And generally what you'll find with the executive partners, and again it's a pull strategy with the professors, is that we'll come into an environment to either evaluate case studies, we'll help with mock interviews, we're helping them to practice their presentation skills, we're helping them to prepare for interviews, and additionally that field consultancy piece comes into place. We also will help from time to time in career services to serve as a resource there as well. And so I think the critical piece around being an executive partner is the adaptability. It's the adaptability to the university's needs. And the organization that you asked about earlier was started really with an hypothesis. And the hypothesis was, how can we lever the retirees in the community of Williamsburg to bring business into the business school? And that was Larry Pulley's hypothesis. And then the second part of that was, which kind of ties back to what you talked about, is how do we have this organization evolve with the university and mature with the university? And so when we kind of talk about all the things that an executive partner would be a part of, it's really a function of where the university is going, where there are needs, and then what the students would like to see from us.
Okay. And I know that the Executive Partners Program grew up as a complement to our full-time MBA program, our day program, which is a cohort-based program. Students are moving in lockstep, so there's a collegiality and a camaraderie that you get in that particular program because you're sort of in the mix with your peer students, and mentors are working to clear trails and help provide that leadership. Mason has been able to expand that program to work with other graduate business programs. Can you talk a little bit about the movement into other business disciplines and how executive partners are beginning to work with students studying business analytics, for example?
Certainly. And so I like the evolution piece of it. Is from one point, we started just looking at the full-time MBA program. We've actually been doing work around the evening program. We're starting to do some work with undergraduates, and really how we move forward is around what are the needs that we've been asked to fulfill.
Okay.
And so if you look at the other graduate programs, we participated on panel discussions. We've actually gone into the classroom and talked about some of our areas of expertise. And so one of the things that I would say when you look at the executive partners is, how do you lever their experiences. And so if you match it up to the various MBA programs or master's programs that we've gotten engaged with, it's really the professors going, boy, I think we could use a little extra dimension here. And we've got executive partners that can bring that talent and perspective to the table.
Okay.
And so that's how we get pulled into to those areas. And one of the things that we have to be really mindful of is making sure that we're value added in the right space. And so what that means is there will be times where we'll have to say, not a good fit. And so, but generally, what we've really focused on is how can we serve? And generally, we found there have been places that we can serve.
You know, Phil, you mentioned that you had started as an EP,
Yes.
an executive partner, and now you're the executive director of the program. So you've got some experience down sort of at the grassroots of the program. I would imagine that you build a really strong relationship and cultivate that relationship with the students that you work with. Can you talk a little bit about the relationship past graduation? Are executive partners remaining in contact with students that they mentored? Are those lifelong relationships? What's the value for the student to tap that experience post-graduation? Talk a little bit about that relationship once students move on and graduate.
That's a really great topic because that's where, when I've talked to other executive partners, that's where their joy comes in, is the fact that they develop these relationships and the students continue to stay in contact with them, use them as mentors throughout their career. There are many times where EPs have talked about being invited to weddings because of the relationship that they've had with them. And so what I really like about the Executive Partners Program is, on one way, when the person's a student, they're starting to model with their executive partner what it's like to have either a sponsor, a coach, or a mentor in the workplace. And so they've got that model in place. And then for those that want to continue that strong relationship, now they've got not only potentially techniques to develop that same model within the corporation, but now they've got a resource or coach or mentor that they can refer to outside of the workplace to give them additional perspective. And so it's a really strong relationship that gets developed when the student is here at William & Mary, and continues for many of them throughout their professional career, because now they've got that third-party voice that they can rely on, one that's trusted because they built a relationship early on. And so it's really, really a great point, and it's really fascinating to hear EPs talk about those types of relationships that they have, and particularly some take great pride in getting invited to their weddings.
I've heard that, and with all of the activity around campus, I often see executive partners coming into the building and stop and talk a little bit, and that's one of the things that always comes across is you hear the stories that are not about the academic experience always, or just the pure mentorship component of the relationship. It's the personal connection that they make, knowing people's families, getting invited to weddings. I imagine there's probably been a lot of very strong both personal and professional relationships that have developed from this program, and those relationships have just remained in place through your career. You mentioned field consultancy projects. Can you talk a little bit about first of all, when a field consultancy project comes together, is that organized like a consulting engagement? Is the executive partner taking the lead as the lead consultant and then working with students to assign roles, responsibilities, to deliver on whatever the project is? Or are they acting as more of a mentor and watching the process, coaching it, but really letting the students drive the outcome?
It's as much the latter as the former, where the executive partner is actually coaching the students, working with the engagement. They may help secure an engagement, but at the same time, it's really about experiential opportunities for the students.
Okay.
And so it's really focused on coaching and where appropriate mentoring the students in the field consultancy space.
Okay, understood. What else would you like to tell us about the program? If we have a student out there that's watching this and they're thinking about coming to William & Mary, and they're thinking about any of our master's business programs, whether it's one of our MBA programs or our analytics or accounting or marketing or finance or one of the many incredible programs that have developed here at William & Mary's Business School, what would you tell them are the primary reasons that you think that this is an educational experience that will exponentially pay dividends to them. So the value of not just the program and the Executive Partners Program, but that mentorship, the collaboration that they learn. Talk a little bit about what you would say to a student who is thinking about coming here and considering some of the things that we've talked about.
That's a great point. You know, what's interesting, as you were talking, I was thinking about my experience as an EMBA, and that's the Executive MBA program here at William & Mary. I did not have the opportunity to have an executive partner when I was an EMBA. And so I was somewhat jealous when I learned about the program and saw the impact it could have on a student or MBA candidate. And I think the thing that if I were evaluating today, what I would really focus in on is that you've got some very high-level executives across multiple disciplines, across multiple major companies or small companies that have tremendous talent. And that talent is available to you as a resource. And as that resource that is absolutely committed to your success and development. And one of the things that stood out to me as an EP, and I've talked about this before, is if you start looking at what I characterize as the core values of an EP or the program is a level of commitment and engagement, the relationships that you build, and frankly, a big part of it is the trustworthiness or the trusting relationship, whereas you know that you've got a third party whom you can go to get advice, to be coached, that's really engaged with you, and also is committed to your success along with the university. And to me, that adds an extra dimension to your career as a college student. And what I've shared with my people that I coach, treat the EPs as an opportunity to experiment. And so now you've got the opportunity to experiment in a safe environment.
Okay.
That is an added dimension with professionals that can give you the perspective of what it's like to be in corporate America. And to me, when we kind of talk about the secret sauce, but that just jumps off the page to me. And so, again, as I kind of compare and contrast, when I was in the MBA program and then learning about this program, as I said, I was jealous because this is absolutely an extra dimension that takes your experience to the next level and, frankly, would be really, really difficult to say no to.
You know, Phil, I think you just nailed it. You know, academic advising is a good parallel to this, right? Help, whether it's, you know, assistance with the curriculum, but learning the subject matter is one thing. But what you're talking about extends beyond the academic curriculum and the subject matter that you're there to learn through your experience in the program. It's the added dimension, the added experience, the things that somebody who has been there and done it in the real world from a practical application standpoint can bring to the equation and can convey to our students that gets them so much further down the road faster in terms of acceleration of their career and understanding all of the advanced concepts that make it so difficult to collaborate in a multi-person environment, which we all have to do today in any office environment, to understand concepts that are progressive, that go beyond just what we learn in a textbook or in a classroom. And I think that's ultimately the greatest value, is that extension beyond academic theory and classroom learning to the real world experience that only somebody who's been out in the world and had those types of jobs and worked in those types of environments can convey.
Yeah. And what's so neat, again, as we kind of talked about, is the marrying of, as you talked about, the professor's experience, because many times they're researching, they're working with companies on a consulting basis, and then blending those experiences together with an EP that, as I've stated, many of which have had some very, very high-level roles. And if you think about it, you've got approximately 100 executive partners within your reach of this university to help you on your journey. And all you've got to do as a student is connect. You say, boy, I really like their experience. Reach out to them. They will be responsive. And so it's this tremendous resource that's available to students that, frankly, as we've talked about before, is the secret sauce. If it is something that adds an extra dimension, is value added to your experience. And guess what? They volunteer.
That says a lot. It's a labor of love, I
Yes.
would have to imagine. But a lot of executives that have gone through the trials of and tribulations that we all experience through our professional careers and have accumulated those war stories and probably a lot of scars through battles over the years on strategy and operational initiatives. I think they have a hunger and a desire to convey those experiences to the next generation of business leader that's coming up and is going to experience similar situations, but the technology might be different, certainly more advanced, but the dynamics are always the same. Human nature and dynamics in the office tend to be consistent from place to place. So I think that those stories and that mentorship is so invaluable in helping students to understand what they will experience as they progress, whether they're early stage in their career or mid-level and moving more into executive ranks, that situations repeat themselves oftentimes. And the more experience you can have from people that have learned how to cope with situations, perhaps even in different ways and seen different outcomes, that can advance your knowledge and make you so much more able to address and resolve problems at work or to push advanced strategies that the organization you're working for may not have realized yet. But calling upon that experience and bringing it to the forefront is just such a powerful way to arm our students with the types of advanced thinking and desire to innovate that I think corporate America is looking for today.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a really good summation, and I think the key takeaway from that is not only will you have someone there that can support you, but I think the more important piece of it or portion is the coaching through, because you need to experience it in your own words, your own way, and then have someone guide you through maybe a series of questions or based on their experience. Not necessarily saying, here's how you do it, but based on the executive's experience and seeing some pitfalls, the executive asking the right questions such that the student, when he or she's working on a project or a case, can say, okay, I get it. I've internalized it. This is my way of doing it. This is my process. And then having that executive guide them through a whole series of questions, and then where appropriate, mentoring. So it's really that combination of coaching and mentoring, and that will adjust based on the student, because one of the things you're trying to do is help the student develop as a leader. And so how you approach it will change, but the basis of it will be coaching and mentoring and helping them develop as leaders.
Wow. Well, Phil, I think it's an incredible program. We are so happy and excited to have you joining William & Mary in a leadership role over the Executive Partners Program. I think that students that are interested in learning more about the Executive Partners Program can certainly reach out to us. I think Phil will make himself available as well. And we'll post some information on how to contact us if you're interested in learning more about the program and either becoming an executive partner or a student in one of our many top-ranked business programs. So, Phil, I'd like to thank you for your time today and wish you the best of luck as we move forward and as you think about new ways to expand the utility and value of the Executive Partners Program. I have no doubt that it will continue to be the centerpiece of William & Mary's strategy for delivering the best academic experience that we can possibly deliver and to prepare our students for lives of leadership in the business world. So thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.